Amanda here from createyourfuture.co. So today we have Megan joining us. Hi, Megan.
Hi, Amanda. Hi, everybody.
Guys, we have an exciting success story. This is actually, you guys obviously intended and created this because it is how to get your crush to chase you. So it's a success story where she got her crush to actually chase her and pursue her to be in a relationship. So absolutely amazing. So Megan is going to read the success story. And then, of course, like usual, we're going to go through some points so you can apply this in your life and get your guys' crushes to chase you. So welcome, Megan.
Hi, thanks. Yeah, I like this story because this client had liked this guy at work for quite some time. Always had an eye on him. Kind of thought that at first that he was out of her league and just didn't know. First, she was trying to make every sort of go in his office, every excuse to try to get attention from him. And he just kind of blew her off. In fact, he was kind of like being a jerk to her at first. But then, somehow she changed. Well, I know not somehow. She started living from the end, mental diet, as well as the technique of Isn't It Wonderful, as well as the conception of herself, and changed everything around. So again, remember, this guy was not giving her the time of day. She was trying to run into him. And then all of a sudden the tables turned. So she was living from her end scene of the two of them being together. And every time she thought of him, she used the concept of wouldn't it be wonderful? But, it resonated more for her to come up with something that said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we were in a relationship together? Everybody at work would think it's amazing. They'd be happy, be really cool. Maybe this was just meant to be for us to even be at this workplace, to be together. Every time she thought about it, she just kind of went to that end scene and was living from that end. Well, guess what happened? Also, she took him also off the pedestal and put herself on the pedestal and started seeing herself as being someone valuable and appreciated in what she would bring and why he'd want to be with her as well, and kind of seeing herself as being good enough for this. And so then, lo and behold, they started, he started changing his behavior, started talking to her a little bit more. Then all of a sudden was making excuses to come into her office and right into her, and then flirting more and more at work and turning into, let's be Facebook friends and text on Facebook friends, to then going into texting over the phone, into calling, then to going out, to then all of a sudden, this client can believe it, was pursuing her to the point it happened so quickly that it was pursuing her that she didn't even actually, he was like, wow, I actually created all of this. He was like asking her to be his girlfriend, trying to create the status on Facebook, saying that they were in a relationship, planning trips, giving her flowers, leaving Post-it notes, in her office, meaning like when she wasn't there, if he got to work before her, he would like leave her roses or cards or like little sticky notes, and he was chasing her and pursuing her just because she changed this whole conception of herself, started living from the end of that and using the Isn't It Wonderful technique, which resonated with her own terms. And also the law of assumption, because if you think about it, they started out as talking and flirting and then, calling and then going to the relationship and assuming that all of that was leading into the relationship and assuming that he liked her and wanted to be with her.
That's so amazing. And, I think it pretty much nailed it there was, assuming that everything was leading into the relationship, is definitely 100% the way to create the bridge of incidences to get you there, right? I think one thing, that people have been asking is, how do we take somebody off a pedestal? And I think it's not even about taking somebody off of a pedestal. That's actually not the correct way to look at it. It's actually putting yourself on a pedestal, because we don't want to knock them down and say, we look at them and we think they're this great person, and that's what puts them on the pedestal. That we think we're not good enough to have that great person. That's how they get on that pedestal. We don't want to kick them off that pedestal and say, no, what, they're no good, they're garbage. No, we don't want to do that. We still want them to be that great person, but we need to start creating that we're good enough to have it. So we work on our self-concept that, they're a great person and I'm the perfect match for them. They're a great person and I'm good enough to be with someone like that. They're freaking hot. And I'm allowed to have that in my life, and I'm going to, because I'm hot enough and good enough to have that. I'm perfect. So to take someone off of a pedestal, it's really to bring yourself up to that level and say that you're good enough to have it, and that it's not this big thing that's out of your reach, right?
Right, exactly. Because if you are taking them, like you said, made a good point. If you're saying bad things about them, well, guess what? You're creating that story. So you're actually changing the concept of them, which is not going to benefit you in the long run. And
Nope.
and secondly, you're right. It is saying that I'm good enough to be in this relationship. And this person also, this client also, even in her wonderful isn't wonderful technique, she even said everybody at work are going to think we are a perfect match together. They're going to be so happy. So she was
Right.
even saying that conception.
Exactly. And there's one thing that, I'd like to clarify with affirmations and isn't it wonderful technique. So isn't it wonderful is the question. Okay. Isn't it wonderful that we're in a relationship? You're still making the statement that we're in a relationship. Isn't it wonderful? Okay. That's the question. That we're in a relationship and everybody thinks we're a great match. So those are actually statements. Affirmations are a little bit different because affirmations is, why do they want to be in a relationship with me? Why does everybody say our relationship is amazing? Like, okay, so now we're actually questioning the whole entire statement to begin with. So that's the difference between the Isn't It Wonderful technique and an affirmation. Now, I'm not a huge fan of affirmations because let's get out of questioning why things are showing up in our reality and let's start intending and creating, right? Instead of questioning why the person wants to be with you, let's start creating why they want to be with you. Let's start stating they want to be with me because I'm an amazing person. Right. So doing an affirmation of, why do they want to be with me isn't actually going to take the person off of a pedestal. Right.
No, and
Oh,
it personally doesn't
right.
work for me. It actually confuses the heck out of me, and my brain goes all these different directions. So I agree
Well,
with you
that's it.
100%.
If you're leaning on rejection story and you ask why does this person want, why doesn't this person want to be in a relationship with me? Your brain's going to tell you 100 reasons why they don't want to, because that's what you're focusing on, right? That's the other thing that I find with affirmations. But I mean, I'm not saying if they don't work for somebody, if they work for you, then use them. However,
Absolutely.
again, let's get out of questioning though, and let's get into creating mode. Let's start creating right now. If you find that doing intentions and creating is too much for you, then keep practicing it, because you know what? You have to focus on what you want, not question what you want. Right?
Exactly. And, she didn't actually say, isn't it wonderful? Because that didn't even resonate with her. So what she said is, wouldn't it be cool if we were in a relationship? Wouldn't this be great? So that resonated with her even more. So you kind of
Yeah.
have to kind of tweak these things as well.
Exactly. So no, exactly. That's like 100% it, right? You tweak it to what you would, feel and bring into your reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing, right, with the isn't it cool and isn't it wonderful is, I just want to throw some science out there, is your brain can't actually picture negative. So you're actually saying it's wonderful that we're in a relationship. So that's what you're actually also saying. So
Yes.
the important part here, okay, so a little bit of neurolinguistic programming for everybody, is the statement. The statement is the important part of this, okay? And again, the only thing you're questioning is the being wonderful, but again, your brain doesn't see the negative, okay? So again, that's another big difference with the affirmations as well as isn't it wonderful or isn't it cool, is because you're saying wonderful, you're creating that feeling of wonderful. That's how you create it. You want to know how to create feeling like you have it. You say, I feel like I'm married to the person, and then you're going to call that feeling into you. I feel like this is working out, and you're going to call that feeling into you, right? So there is no big secret to how you feel things. You just say, I intend to feel good today. I feel good today. I feel like that person wants to be with me. Boom. As soon as you say that, you call those feelings into you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I like what you also mentioned too was, the self concept and, and feeling like we're good enough, which we did with the being on a pedestal, but also living from the end, of being there,
Absolutely, saying you're good enough to be in the relationship. And, it wasn't like this client was visualizing this at night. Okay. I want to say that's not one of those things where every night, I mean, I'm not saying that couldn't work, but this was every time she saw this person at work, it just automatically went to the scene in her head with that statement. Because as we've talked about before, your words create your pictures anyway. So saying that automatically created that end scene and the conception of herself being good enough for that relationship.
Exactly. So in living from the end, right? That is living from the end, going, well, look at, what, I'm good enough to be in this relationship. That's a thought that you would have if you already had that relationship, which I think is incredibly important, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the scenes, the scenes that you want to create throughout your day. picture those, you know, picture anytime. It doesn't just have to be at night. It's good at night to be in, you know, that mood of everything's working out and it's going to happen, you know, but you know what, very much creating is an all day thing. It's constant. It's not just like, okay, look at, it's 20 minutes before bed. I'm going to actually create now.
Yes, exactly. Right. As I do it all day. And you know what? She also, what I thought about too, is she also used the Neville congratulatory scene without even knowing that she did that, by saying everybody at work is going to be so happy, because it's almost like, congratulations, you guys are together. But she made it work for her to resonate for her.
You know what? I love that, because what I always do too, I always use that too, is I always use the congratulatory scene. I always create that somebody's going to say something to me, you know, when I get something. So yeah, you know, guys, add that in. What are you going to see? What are you going to hear? What are you going to feel? What are other people going to say to you? I love that, because then, you know what, that further supports your manifestation coming to you, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So she went from crush to being pursued. I mean, and amazing, just by all those things.
That's so awesome. Well, it's good for her. I just love, I know we all love success stories here. I mean, you know, I just, you know, anybody can have anything they want. And, you know, and I'm living proof of that. I've changed my life around in so many amazing ways and created so many amazing things to help people. And I've created great relationships in my life, and I've created things that I didn't even think were possible in my own life. So I know that it's absolutely possible. And, you know, and especially relationships, I find relationships the easiest. That's just me. I'm like, you know, everyone's you pushed out, like done deal, right? But
yeah,
you know, but you know, so we want every one of you guys to, we intend that you actually create something, and you see in this video something that you can tweak in your mental diet and start making that change. And you know, I think that's really what it is basically like just layers of an onion. Is like you just find out little things that you're not catching, and then you start catching them, right? You just find that, you know, that kind of like that static, and you're like, wait a minute, hold on, I'm like, oh, gotta get rid of that, gotta change that. And as you start catching those things start to shift, right? You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Being aware of what you're saying all day is so important.
Exactly. Well, amazing. And look at this, you know what, everybody's intentions work, because this is a clear video.
Yeah,
we have some powerful creators on this channel.
Good job, guys.
I know, right? Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
It only took me like a month to figure it out, but I did it. Absolutely amazing.
Which
look
proves
at that, you know,
that the law always works, no matter what. Whatever you focus on, living from the end, it works no matter what.
Exactly. That's so amazing. Well, guys, you know what, if you want some help, you know, changing around your situation, maybe getting your crush to chase you, or just getting an ex back, or anybody, because all of these principles can be applied to any situation in your life, not just a crush. Definitely check out the link in the description, because Megan is available for coaching. And guys, if you want to ask me, Amanda, a question, definitely sign up with the Patreon, ask the questions there, and I do answer them in our YouTube lives. So thank you so much for being here today, Megan. Amazing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Appreciate all you guys.
Awesome. And guys, thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.